Hey everybody, Larry Lawton. Have a great video for you today. Yes, it's been a bit. I took a few days off. I really wanted to get my teeth into this Diddy case and the partying case in general. I really wanted to get into this and show you guys a different kind of take on everything. First of all, let me give you a little update on the Diddy case itself. First of all, Diddy's trial is now set for May 5th, 2025, which is actually, I don't think it'll happen. I think it'll be pushed back again, depending on a lot of circumstances. I still believe he has to be either superseded indictment, meaning they have to come up with more charges, or I don't know if they have any kind of a case because there's no child sex in this indictment at all. This 14-page indictment is all we still have, the original indictment. Now, you'll hear all these pundits saying, oh, when the feds get you, they're going to get you and all. I don't know about all that. And listen, I was in the feds. I did Fed law for 10 years, so I think I have a good grasp of what's going on. And I think I'm going to open your eyes to a few things as well. First of all, as of now, and I'm doing this right now, it goes right up. P. Diddy is his lawyers appealed to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, the 3-panel judge for the Second Circuit, and they are now hearing his bail. He was denied bail by first the magistrate, then the district judge who's going to hear the case, who since actually recused himself for a lot of reasons we don't know yet. And then now he's going to the appeals court for bond. Let me explain something. He needs bond. I don't think you should have to fight this case from a jail cell at MDC. Metropolitan Detention Center is in Brooklyn, and it's a scum hole, and that's where he is being held at this moment. And to fight your case legally from a county jail is a lot harder than even fighting your case from your prison, whatever prison you eventually go to, and then you end up in the law library and you start researching cases and stuff, and you find out, wait a minute, I might have a case here. So in my case, Diddy himself should be fighting this case with his lawyers from a place where they can meet at all times, not have to worry about who's listening in. And they do listen in. I love people say, well, you know, attorney-client privilege. Yes, that is something. But I think we've seen enough in these cases and the law, what's going on right now in the United States, that it doesn't always work that way. So that's the update. Will he get bond? I really believe P. Diddy has got a good shot at getting bond. Now, before I get into the case on the freak-offs, the party, everything else that we're going to be talking about today, I want to emphasize this. I have no dog in this fight. I am not on Diddy's side. I am not on the government side, for sure. I think that P. Diddy deserves his day in court before the judgments come out. When I hear all the pundits, and some of the pundits that I respect are out, against him. They're talking about how the evidence is and all of this stuff. You don't know the evidence. You're an attorney looking from the outside in. I don't even think his own attorneys know everything yet. And they're going to get discovery, and they're going to get a lot of things in this case. Obviously, it came down with the information, and then it was a grand jury indictment. And so they're going to be reading through all of that. And they're going to be, scrutinizing it very, very deeply. And I'll tell you why that's really important. All the allegations so far, every one of the allegations in that indictment that I've read, and I've read that 14-page indictment multiple times, I'm not seeing such a great, strong case all these pundits and all these lawyers are saying. Now, listen, we're going to find out who's right or wrong. Unless P. Diddy is superseded. If another indictment comes down and they have more actual evidence, I don't know. But here they get all these tapes. They get everything in these big raids in the California and the Miami home. And all they got is these three charges. I'm pretty shocked that there wasn't more to this case already. So that's why, and people keep saying, Larry, why are you sticking up for a guy who's a pedophile? He's not a pedophile. I don't know where we getting that yet. Hear what I just said about anybody. Listen, Justin Bieber has never came out and said he did anything wrong. Oh, he looks bad. You're hearing pundits do that. He looks like he's depressed. Well, maybe his buddy that they're real close friends is now indicted. Who knows really what happened? Who knows what's all consensual and not consensual? And again, if it's consensual adults, I could care less. I could explain away 1,000 bottles of baby oil. People say, what do you mean, Lap? Who knows? He's a billionaire. Maybe he had a slide coming from his roof and it went into a bathtub or a tub that had oil in it. Who knows? Who knows what kinky stuff people were doing? And I could care less. Listen, every person I talk to on the street, every one of my friends, every one of them say, listen, down deep, no. If it's anything to do where you're drugging a person, doing something against their will, or, of course, anything with a minor, that's a no-no, a big no-no. Absolutely. But is that the case? Or did these women actually, go there, get paid a lot of money, have sex with a lot of guys? And let me tell you why I'm doing this case, and then I'm going to talk about these freak-off parties and everything going on in this whole entire case. First of all, Hollywood has been having wild parties since the inception of Hollywood. I went deep diving into this case because I don't like to just do a video on something without having a little bit of a knowledge behind it. And I don't just read one article. I don't read this one. I don't read a left or a right. Or I read all, even from the Mirror and the BBC and everything else in the United States. I'm trying to read between the lines and seeing what I'm saying, seeing what I see, because that's what somebody who's schooled in the law should do. Listen. Good lawyers are gonna craft a story around whatever it is for their own narrative. And that goes for the prosecutors too. Here's what pisses me off with prosecutors. A prosecutor's job is not to seek vengeance, is not to win at all costs. A prosecutor's job is to get to the truth, period. Whether it makes him look bad, maybe they pulled the trigger too quick on an indictment. Whatever it is, it's supposed to be to seek justice and to find out the truth, not win at all costs. I don't know if anybody here watches Nancy Grace in any way. Nancy Grace boasts, I'm 100-0 in trial. Well, that means that you put bad people in jail. You put people who are innocent in jail too, Mrs. Grace, because that's BS. Your goal shouldn't have been to win. Your goal should have been to seek justice. And sometimes seeking justice shows that the person that you indicted was falsely accused. So that's number one. Number two, so far, everything I'm reading still has P. Diddy, in my mind, not guilty. Now, is he guilty of, I don't want to call it the law as moral turpitude, being immoral, but who am I to give my morals onto P. Diddy? Hey, listen, I've done a lot of wild stuff. I love that. I would have been at a deep P. Diddy party. I would have had fun. And everybody who's there and everybody who was there, I hope they put their head high. I'm going to go back now and talk to you about a little bit about Hollywood and why, this is not so out of the norm. How many people in your neighborhood do you know have, hey, maybe there's a guy down the block has wild parties? Who knows? How many? Go in the back of your paper. Go on an app on a phone, and you can find swingers clubs. You can find orgies. You can find group stuff. You can find a lot of stuff that does not make it illegal. Now, if people bring drugs to that party, are you liable for that? No, you're not. That person took drugs of his own free will. I'm not shaking people down to come to my house party. And if that is what the United States has become, we are really sinking deep. This whole thing has got me pissed off, along with the election and the cycle and everything, the way that's going on, has really got me really, really down on a lot of things. So let me bring up a few things. How long do you think sex parties have been going on? Does anybody remember the name Heidi Fleiss? Does anybody remember this name? Heidi Fleiss. Heidi Fleiss was what they called the Hollywood Madam. Okay? She was at the time, she was 22 years old. She was first a prostitute. She wanted to learn the whole business. She learned from a person named Madam Alex. That's what her mentor. She broke off from her at 22, made millions of dollars. What did the government call her? And you can look at it right here. Look at right here what they call her. Right here. What does that say, people? A procurer. What is a procurer? A procurer of people with sex. Now, Heidi Fleiss, when this all came out, and this was very big in 1990, I remember it vividly. I was very big at the time in my own power, my own limousine, and my own wild parties. And now Heidi Fleiss had this black book they talked about, and she had client names in it. Now, next to the client names, they had what their likes are. Like to be masturbated, like to be like oral sex, like group sex, like guys, like girls, like 3-on-1s, 2-on-1s, like anal, like this. There's a number of things that are in that book that a lot of people had next to their names. Now, just because your name is in that book does not mean that you got somebody, but I don't know how she got that name and got those particulars unless maybe you were part of that. Now, Heidi Fleiss, listen, she made millions of dollars just becoming a middle person. Exactly what she became is a middle person in this whole thing. Now, she ends up going to prison for prostitution, but they didn't really get her for prostitution. They got her for tax evasion. She ends up doing 7 years. She actually did 7 years. And it's more, again, the government pissed that they didn't get their dollar. That's pretty much what this was all about. And that, to me, is not right, people. It's just not. How can I look at stuff like this and say, come on, man. We don't need to be doing stuff like that. We don't need to be getting in people's personal lives with sex. Sex is one of the oldest professions, prostitution, in the world. Gambling, sex, and drugs. None of this is going anywhere. Let me explain something to you. If you think no matter how good or bad the economy is, sex, drugs, and gambling are going to keep on going. And now they are vices, and I don't know who made them all these big, bad vices, but what a person does in their own home should be their own business. Now, mind you, I'm emphasizing all of this. If they're drugging people, which is their allegations of, there's nothing been proven, people. Nothing has been proven. Now, look at the list I'm going to give you right now on this one. Look at the list of the people on Heidi Fleiss's list. Allegedly, this is allegedly, and I have to say that for legal purposes. Allegedly, the names of some of Hollywood's biggest stars have been named from Heidi Fleiss' infamous Little Gucci Black Book. The book has the celebrity client's preferred girls and tastes. Everyone already knew Charlie Sheen, as he had testified during her trial, because he had checks. When she got arrested, there were checks from Charlie Sheen in her purse. And that is how, he known and he testified, yes, I used her. Look at some of the names on this list. Johnny Depp, George Lucas, Hugh Hefner. We're going to get into Hugh Hefner here in a minute. Billy Idol, Sean Penn, Nicolas Cage, Robert Shapiro, O.J. Simpson lawyer. Now, Robert Shapiro, supposedly these great family men. Jack Nicholson, Mick Jagger, Robert Evans, Hollywood producer. Don Simpson, another Hollywood producer. Mario Andretti, Formula One. Now, it does state that some of these names may not have actually used Madam Fleiss call girls. Now, why are you in that book? I don't know. However, the only names on the list that shocked me were Robert Lucas and Robert Shapiro. And George Lucas and Robert Shapiro, because supposedly they're family men. But you know what? I'd never buy that anyway. And you know what? Just because they did use this person, maybe their wife wanted to use this person. Listen, that's not out of the realm either. People say, Larry, are you that crazy? No, I'm not that crazy. I'm a realistic man who's been around the block a little bit. And I can tell you right now, you will be surprised at the people who do what they do. It doesn't surprise me, and nothing shocks me. That's why the allegations of the gay sex or the bisex or whatever has zero influence on me on this whole case. I want to see the illegal activities. Now, I'm not talking about people saying, oh, no, I didn't like that sex. I pushed off, but I got $5,000 to have sex there. I don't know what their kinks were, and I don't know. And this is why a trial should happen. And Diddy deserves his day in court. Let me explain that. He does. Now, let's get back to parties. Everybody's vilifying P. Diddy for the freak-offs. I love that the media comes up with a word. And every day I'm watching on TV, and it's kind of pissing me off what's going on. So let's go right to see someone who, let me explain this person. Now, this person, the person we're going to talk about is Hugh Hefner. Hugh Hefner was, let's call it what it was, probably an idol of mine when I was younger. I mean, who didn't want to be Hugh Hefner? Walk around in a bathrobe, have 7 women that they're married to, or they're all your wives. You're sleeping with all 7 of them. And obviously now they're talking. Now, ex-Playboy bunnies, they have a podcast. So this came out a couple of years ago. Bridget Marquet and Holly Madison, they unveiled the seedy secrets of late smut magnate Hugh Hefner's and his hoarder behavior. This is weird. They were allegedly made, he had a whole bunch of people like in a harem, and he had orgies, and it was a drug fuel. So a lot of girls are now saying they felt like pieces of meat. But, you know, I still haven't seen somebody suing the estate, and I'm glad. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, and I hope they're not. Because, listen, you might have did something when you were a younger person, and you might like say, oh, man, I had great sex. It was great. But now I found God. I found somebody, and I shouldn't have did that. I think I was coerced into that. You know, as a man who's abused himself, I don't blame I don't blame myself. I blame only the person who did that to me. But I moved on, and most people should move on and make whatever happened to them stronger. Not look for the money, not look for the deep pockets. And I think that's exactly what happened in this case. Now, you want to talk about parties? Come on. Who doesn't know about the Hugh Hefner parties? These girls are talking about how they had vibrators all over the place and lotions and orgies, and they're all in drug-fueled orgies, cocaine flying, everything going on in these parties. Listen, this does not shock me in one bit. So I'm looking at this, and then I'm going, oh, look at this. First of all, this is his bedroom. This is Hugh Hefner's bedroom. Now, this is another guy, and everybody knows about the Playboy Mansion, and they had what they call a grotto, which they had a pool that you could go underground into an area, and it was like a grotto where they could sit, and people were naked and having sex and you know, having oral sex and everything going on right back under the grotto, they call it. Now, they're talking about, look at this bedroom. This guy lived an opulent life. So did P. Diddy. So did P. Diddy. And P. Diddy, I think, had even more money than him. Don't get me wrong. This guy lived some life. I mean, think about that. I can tell you that. This guy lived a hell of a life in my mind. But let's keep going on here. So look at this house. Now, listen, Hugh Hefner is, at this point, 70-something years old, and look at these hot babes. I want one of the men out there to tell me, oh, wow, I wouldn't mind that either. You know what I mean? How many? Think about what I just said. How many? You tell me how many. I can tell you right now that I'm looking at these girls, and look at these girls with Hugh Hefner. I mean, these are the stuff that dreams were made of. You know, when I was a young kid, we used to go steal our dad's Playboy book in the bedroom. And, you know, that's what we had. We didn't have porn on TV and the phones. We didn't have all this stuff. And even in Hugh Hefner's day, you know, I mean, how much was not been recorded? Just because they have recording devices, I still have not seen a video or a tape that is so bad that the prosecutors are saying, listen, if this was a slam dunk, he would have been indicted for some exploitation. He would have been indicted for more than he is indicted for, I believe. Especially drugs, guns, everything else found in his house. And P. Diddy is not charged. Something's not adding up, guys. And I hate to see somebody get vilified. Look at this guy. Walked around in a smoking jacket or a bathrobe his whole time and had orgies. Literally, that's what he did. That's what he is known for, and they're saying how gross it was. But look at this picture here. Who doesn't want to be Hugh Hefner? So don't tell me about Hollywood parties. You know, researching this, it goes way back to Groucho Marx, and it goes back to Clark Gable, Rock Hudson. They had scam marriages because he was gay, and they still needed a marketable star. See, but back then they had PR people, and they had media people that could bury stories. You know, they have a thing they call catch and kill. That means they get a story and it's supposed to go to media, and then they buy that story and they keep it. They talked about Donald Trump doing that as well. Listen, I don't care what Donald Trump did with that regard. That's between him and his family and his wife. But look at this picture here. All of those girls, they don't look like they don't want to be in that picture. They don't look like they're having a bad time. Look at this picture. Man, I'm going through this stuff saying, I remember as a young guy, man, you know, if there's one thing we all wanted, and I mean everybody, it was to go to the Playboy Mansion. They had Playboy clubs, people. In Manhattan, I think it was on 54th, they had a Playboy club. You go into these clubs and the girls are running around bunnies with their boobs, and there were prostitutes in there. You can get what you want. Listen, and it is just like that today. Why are we as a government making such a big deal of what's going on? And I'm telling you, I'm sick and tired of it. And the more, listen, I waited a week and I watched and waited for something to come out. And I'm just watching all of these news outlets and YouTube channels trying to just vilify this guy before he even had his day in court. Listen, if P. Diddy's found guilty and I hear the testimony and I'm part of this and I want to know everything, again, we're not going to know everything. Just always remember that as well. Because in the federal courts in New York, there's no cameras. And I wish that would change, but you can't change that. That's up to the judges, and that's up to their federal judges. So that's just the way it is. So there's not going to be a video of what's going on there. But you're going to hear day to day. You're going to hear transcripts. You're going to read them. But transcripts are not like that testimony. I am really dying to see what exactly what's his attorneys do for him, and just to see what they do. I really am. I'm dying to see what happens there. And we're going to find out. But the more I look into this case, the more I'm not saying I'm on Diddy's side. I am on the side of justice. So anybody out there who starts, Larry, you're just siding with, if you don't like my opinions, so be it. I might not like your opinions. That doesn't mean I'm going to vilify you. You have a right to your opinion. I have a right to my opinion. I have an educated opinion as a man who did federal law for 10 years. I am shocked and disgusted on how our government is handling this case and most cases. And you know what pisses me off too, if you want to continue this? What happened with the Epstein list? That is child stuff. That is people. Giselle, the girl, his girlfriend, was convicted, and that was about child stuff. Now, why aren't we seeing a list of what celebrities went to that place where they had kids at that place? Who knows what was done? Why is that being pushed under the table? I want you people to start thinking a little bit deeper than just the case itself. Think of what's going on. We are at a really precarious time, people, and I mean this. We are at a very, very precarious time, and I hope you all start looking at it like that. My opinions might not be yours, and that's quite all right. I hope you understand why I do what I do, because I want to give an opinion. I want people to see something different. I want people to hear another voice, and I want you to look in the mirror, every one of you out there, and I want you to say, wow, you know what? I would have been at that party too, because I have no problem saying I would have loved to have been at that party. The minute I saw an underage person or somebody being drugged without their permission, that's a whole different animal, and I wouldn't sit there and watch it. And that's why I'm a little bit hesitant about convicting these people. There were a lot of people at these parties. I cannot believe they were all complicit with this. Oh, but Larry, they spiked the punch. Listen, how many parties do I go to? I know the punch is spiked. Don't drink it. And I mean spike, because they put stuff in. They want you to have, hey, they want to put alcohol, extra alcohol. They put whatever in it. I've been at great parties like that. I can't believe everybody at this party was just all a bad person. All of these freak-offs. I don't even like the name they made. Listen, they had a party. It's not a freak-off party. Not in my mind anyway. But I hope you understand where I'm coming from. Please make good choices. Follow this case like I'm gonna, and I hope you do. And I hope to see you real soon. And let's see who's right. And I will stay updated. I will be going live on this too this week. So I'll talk to you guys in a minute. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you. Please subscribe, like, do all that kind of stuff. It helps. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe.